The Fantom Opera ecosystem is absolutely booming, and there's a way that a lot of individuals can get involved with hidden gems that are currently on Fantom and growing, and how to earn passive income while farming via yield aggregators on Fantom. So in this video, we're going to break this up into two different things here today. We're going to talk about some hidden gems, where Fantom is going, and I'm going to show you how to go ahead and participate in some strategies to earn passive income with Fantom on Fantom. So the very first thing that you have to understand is, where do I see Fantom going exactly? Well, we have to assess where the market cap is and where Fantom is currently sitting. So first thing is first, Fantom is the 29th ranked biggest token in the world, the biggest coin in the world. However, for a layer one, I have to really think about this. Is Fantom better, or does it have the potential to become better than Polygon Matic? Yeah, absolutely. Do I foresee it overtaking Avalanche, even though Avalanche is sitting at a $17.7 billion market cap? Yes. That means that currently, if it were to overtake AVAX, meaning if Fantom were to overtake AVAX, then it would hit just about a 3x from where it is right now, a 300% gain. However, what I will say is that I do see Avalanche overtaking DOT, because Polkadot hasn't really done anything recently. There's no hype around Polkadot, etc. And Polkadot's sitting at 20 billion. And during the last bull run, we saw that AVAX was at like 21 billion market cap. So the other thing we need to consider is how fast Cardano is dropping. And Cardano holders are also starting to notice that there's other layer ones with better potential spreading out their money into Solana. Not necessarily DOT as much anymore, but we're looking at Matic, Solana. Now we're also looking at AVAX, has been talked about very, very heavily. And what's up next? Fantom. Now, here's the other thing. We're going to go to DeFi Llama really quickly, and we're going to take a look in the DeFi sector where chain dominance is starting to move to. So DeFi Llama, we can see that across all chains, there's around $196 billion locked in TVL. So that's how much dollar value is currently locked across all the chains in cryptocurrency on DeFi, okay, across all the layer ones. So if we just go to chains really quickly, take a look at this, right? If we just look back in August of 2020, we can see it was Ethereum that pretty much had all of the market share in the DeFi space. Fast forward to recent times, we can see that Ethereum, wow, if you just keep watching my other videos, you'll know that I refer to DeFi Llama very often. And we've seen it go from 70 since I started talking about the DeFi space and everything that's happening in DeFi. We've seen it go from like 70, 80%. Now it's currently at just under 60%. It's falling so fast. And I forgot to mention before how individuals are also moving their capital from stuff like Cardano to even Terra. So we've seen BSC take a massive hit. Luna obviously is the second biggest chain right now. However, look what's creeping up. What has surpassed what has surpassed Avalanche by a few percentage points. It's literally Fantom. Fantom is growing at such a rapid pace. And we can see, if we just take a look at Fantom right over here, there's 144 protocols, which is huge. And just so you know, the only reason that Luna is sitting where it's sitting right now in the position in regards to how big the chain dominance is for Luna is because of Anchor Protocol. So Anchor Protocol has, like, I think, close to 11 billion or $10.6 billion in TVL locked on the Luna chain. So even though there's literally 17 protocols on here, it's sitting at the second spot because of the fact of that one single protocol doing majority of the work. Then we have Fantom with 144 protocols. Now remember, the more projects that are on Fantom means the more liquidity that's going to be needed in order for these projects to sustain. So when we talk about some of these gems that I see going absolutely crazy in the upcoming months, I'll show you some of those projects out of the protocols that are there to simply provide liquidity on the entire Fantom network. So we can see there's 144 different protocols. BSC is 295, Ethereum 510. So there's a lot of active projects on here, a lot of active projects on Fantom, which is great, which is what we want to see. So where do I see Fantom going exactly? Well, we can see that the market cap's at 5.2 billion. And if we go to market cap, we just take a look at the last 3 months. The market market cap was at 8.25 billion at one point. And if we just kind of correspond this with the price, it's at $3.20. Right now it's sitting at $2.08. Fantom is going to have its time in the sun. We're going to see some massive growth from Fantom once a lot more projects start to really gain a ton of traction. Right now, there's a lot of eyeballs on Luna because of Anchor and their APY or their APR that they're providing, which is phenomenal for a peg stable. So again, Fantom, in my opinion, we're going to see like a $6 to $8 Fantom. Obviously, after the market is done correcting, once we see the bulls in power again, Fantom is going to take off. I'm currently accumulating Fantom. As a matter of fact, and I don't ever suggest anybody do this, I've gone ahead and opened up a leverage position, a long leverage position on Fantom. That's because, again, this is opening up any type of leverage position can be super, super risky. Some would even say it's gambling. I would even consider it gambling. But I have a lot of faith in Fantom. I hold it spot as well, but recently I've started longing it at 5x leverage. And, again, I'm willing to sit, even though the funding fees will eat me alive, I'm willing to sit on this for multiple months because Fantom is going to have its day in the sun. So let's move on from the assessment of Fantom to talking about some of these gems that I foresee are just going to explode even more. And the best part about these gems is the simple fact that when I talk about the protocols to create passive income with on Fantom, you'll notice an overlap of these gems compared to what they're actually doing. So again, a lot of these are highly discounted right now, given the fact that everything, the entire market overall, the entire market sentiment is down. And like I said, we've seen an all-time high especially for Liquid Driver at $54. And if we cross-reference it with, I guess we can't cross-reference it with the market cap, but regardless, it was at $54 with Liquid Driver. It dipped recently as low as 19. Now we're sitting at 28. Now Liquid Driver does something really, really interesting. You're able to receive rewards if you stake your Liquid Driver. You can actually go ahead and I'll talk about this in just a little bit. You can actually stake XLQDR as well, and you're able to use your LQDR in order to go ahead and earn passive income if you go ahead and pair it in this LP with Fantom at 114%, which we'll get to. However, if you obtain some XLQDR, you're able to, and this is where I see the protocol really, really thriving, is you're able to stake it in order for a certain lockup period and get rewarded in basically in governance tokens. There's other protocols that will give governance tokens to Liquid Driver, and they're gonna distribute those governance tokens to individuals that are also staking XLQDR, and it's really, really, really powerful. The way that Liquid Driver, the protocol, is set up, and we'll get to that in a little bit. And again, there's so much upside potential to LQDR just because of, yes, it has a lot of dominance when it comes to being a yield aggregator, but a lot of these different plays that a lot of these different projects that I'm going to show you are, a lot of them are intertwined in the yield aggregator sector of DeFi, which I do believe. We tried DeFi 2.0, and I don't think DeFi 2.0 is going anywhere with DAOs and a lot of other different type of projects that recently came up with DeFi 2.0. But I definitely see the market going back to the safer plays because of all the crashes that have happened with all these DAOs and other different DeFi 2.0 protocols. And Liquid Driver, again, is a yield aggregator. So there's Liquid Driver, which we'll get to in just a few more minutes when we talk about the passive income. And then we have Beethoven X. Again, Beethoven X is another one we're going to talk about in just a few minutes. This is also a way to earn passive income, providing liquidity, staking, yield aggregator, whatever you want to call it. So here's the thing with Fantom is that when it comes down to the Fantom network, there's going to be a lot of these protocols that are going to pay really high APYs, really high rewards, because liquidity is needed currently on the Fantom network with the sheer growth that's happening. So platforms like Liquid Driver, Beethoven X, and a few others that are out there are really leading the way, especially Beethoven X is definitely leading the way. Now, here's the problem that I see with yield aggregators, and I want to make it very clear, is that yield aggregators are so speculative, so speculative. If you were around in DeFi summer, you'll know that yield aggregators were like the place to be. But if we take a look at some of the really speculative ones, like Swampy, that at one point was like $80, right? So right over here, it was like $80. Oh, it was even a lot higher. But this was a yield aggregator on Binance Smart Chain, and it hit like $200 at one point. And now look where it is. It's less than 10 cents. So again, and if we take a look at Pancake Bunny, which again was another yield aggregator that Binance Labs actually contributed $1.6 million to. Unfortunately, they were hacked. Let me see if it was in a year. Yeah, so they were hacked, and they saw everything be drained. I was lucky enough to see this hack when it happened on Twitter, and I was able to get it at like $5, and then just a few hours later it went to $40, and I sold my position because everybody rebought in because of this entire hack. But again, I think this was a flash loan attack, which again, a lot of these protocols have learned how to combat flash loan attacks. The only thing that I'm saying is these yield optimizers, I don't necessarily know the long-term outlook for their token value, but as Fantom is growing and needs more liquidity, they will thrive. But once the ecosystem is set up and it's running and there's so much liquidity there, it just becomes an open market for other protocols to play in. And I mean, Beethoven X, I do think, is going to see some astronomical gains. However, it's going to be short-lived. So if you're going to play this, not financial advice, of course, you should make your profits and get out, not stay in for too long. Now, here's the other thing, is that we have SpiritSwap and SpookySwap. Now, SpiritSwap, SpookySwap, they are decentralized exchanges, right? So if we just go to SpiritSwap, we can see right over, well, SpiritSwap does a lot more than just an exchange. So first things first, what you're able to do is bridge, swap, provide liquidity, farms. So think of PancakeSwap here. However, they have an ape mode, which is essentially derivatives. Now, I can't access it because I'm not on a VPN or not in my country. So this is essentially a derivatives platform. So the reason why I really like SpiritSwap in comparison to SpookySwap is because SpookySwap has already pumped really, relatively in comparison to other projects. SpookySwap has definitely pumped. Does it have more room to pump? Absolutely. I think SpookySwap will actually dominate the decentralized exchange and become the Uniswap or the PancakeSwap for Fantom. So again, SpookySwap has huge upside potential as more individuals come onto the Fantom network. This is very self-explanatory. So SpiritSwap has a lot more utility than just being a DEX where you can also provide LP, right? So there's so much that's happening inside of SpiritSwap, and it sits at a $40 million market cap. I can see this, even if we hit 150 million like SpookySwap, this will hit a 3x, a 300% gain, but I definitely see this going way higher than a 3x, just given the fact of just the utility that they provide. And they're also available on Gate, which is cool. Now, Tomb is such a great project. So many people cover it. It's a seniorage platform. This is, it's really interesting because T-Shares is where the value is, but obviously you need Tomb to provide it into I think it's the masonry it is, or the cemetery. So you provide LP, and again, you get rewarded, and then you can provide your T-Share. You can also earn Tomb. So, at the end of the day, Tomb is a fantastic platform. However, what I will say is that the TVL 1.1 billion, once you see the TVLs of these protocols reach over like 800 million or so, it starts to stabilize itself. Now, because the current price of one Tomb is above the price of one Fantom, we're going to see a supply increase. And I created an entire video on Tomb Finance as well that you can watch, explaining how this all works. But long story short is T-Share is where the real money is. Again, depending on how you're playing this particular protocol. But Tomb still has some moves to make, as you know, as being a signorage, needing that on Fantom for liquidity. This is still a fantastic play, and as Fantom grows, it's definitely going to go ahead and expand and even get bigger. Next, what you want to see is how to probably earn passive income when it comes down to the Fantom network. Now, Fantom protocols and different yield aggregators are providing really good APRs. So again, they're providing really good APYs because of the fact that the liquidity is needed there. So we're going to talk about Yearn. We're going to talk about the Fantom Foundation itself. We're going to talk Liquid Driver, Beethoven, and Tomb, and also talk about Grim as well. So first thing is first, with Yearn Finance, you'd link it up to the Fantom network, and you can go ahead and provide wrapped FTM. So we can see WFTM with a 10.16, so 10% APY, but we can see this particular pool has $354 million in it. Now, here's the thing, is that there's no lockup time period in comparison to the Fantom Foundation, where there's a minimum requirement and there's a lockup period, but the APR is a lot higher than Yearn. I personally like Yearn a lot better than the Fantom Foundation, but for those individuals that don't mind locking up and becoming illiquid with your Fantom, then I would definitely suggest, if you wanted to stake your native Fantom, to use Fantom Foundation. But Yearn is definitely one that you want to pay attention to. And if you really want to become liquid and remain liquid, yet still want to earn some passive yields, then I would suggest Yearn. Now, Fantom, okay, so this is interesting. Participate in staking to secure Fantom network and earn FTM tokens as a reward. To stake, you don't need a particular hard drive. You just do it directly from your phone or PC. So again, this is very, very simple, and it's based on validators. Now, there's different validator pools that you can go ahead and take a look into. Select the validator, stake as you go for a 4% APY. Or lock up your Fantom for a minimum of 2 weeks to a year for higher staking rewards. So I'm not going to talk too much about the Fantom Foundation, just because, number one, in order to see really good rewards, you're going to need a lot of Fantom. And on the other side is, in order to see fantastic APY, you're going to need to have a certain lockup period. Like Yearn, there's no lockup period, and it's at 10%, but the minimum is 14 days, and you only get 4.64% on Fantom Foundation. So again, a lot of people have talked about Fantom Foundation, even though you have to, also participate with a validator. So find one that you trust. Again, this is an opportunity, a possibility, but not the one that I would suggest. I definitely would suggest Yearn. Now, we can also go ahead and go to the Liquid Driver farms. You can provide and become an LP for LQDR. So if you buy the Liquid Driver token in Fantom, the APR here is around 114%. So again, we can see that the TVL currently is around $20 million in locked value. Now, here's the problem, is that when you provide a token to token rather than a token to stable in an LP, you have the possibility to suffer impermanent loss. Now, again, impermanent loss can be extremely horrific as an LP, as a liquidity provider. However, if you're willing to take the gamble and you think that the Fantom ecosystem is going to absolutely explode, that inherently means that LQDR, the Liquid Driver protocol, is going to explode as well. Thus, the underlying token should theoretically increase in value, which means that the rewards that you get for providing liquidity, the fees, is definitely worth it. However, this is super risky. It's through the SpiritSwap oracle that they have. So they're using the SpookySwap DEX in order to maximize the APYs. Then we have right over here we have Boo FTM. These are, again, like I said, these are really speculative. Even though USDC Fantom is safer, but then again, I'm looking for the high yields, right? These insane APRs. And I would put a bet on LQDR, and I also for sure am taking a long-term bet on Fantom, as I mentioned in the beginning. Next, let's talk about Beethoven X, now, or Beat. So Beat is a token that I talked about in the very beginning. However, they have their own swapping mechanism, And what's important is that they're also a yield aggregator with a TVL of $200 million locked in their particular protocol. Now, what's really important is the pool that I really like. It's called Pirate Party. Now, the thing with Pirate Party is that there's an 80-20 ratio for providing liquidity for being an LP. So you would need to essentially, which helps with offsetting and permanent loss a little bit. So you would provide 80% LQDR and 20% wrapped phantom value. So for example, let's just say you have $20. You would need to provide roughly 80% of that $20 in LQDR, and then the other 2% would actually be in phantom. So again, that's kind of how that works. It does help mitigate impermanent loss, I will say that. The pool value is 2.8 million, and the APR right now is 175%, which is great, which is really, really high. This is on the safer side rather than staking on the LQDR FTM. I would, at a 50-50, I would rather go ahead and stake it in the Pirate Party on Beethoven X. A lot safer. Then we have Tomb Finance and Grim. They work hand in hand. So I'm not going to dive in too much on Tomb Finance, but what I will say is if you go ahead, you go into their cemetery and provide LP. So we can see if we let the APRs populate, it's around 130% for this pool. But if we also go to the Masonry right over here, we can see the APR is 665%, which is really, really high. If you stake your T-share, you earn Tomb. But again, there's a lot more intricacies that go into this. I really like the LP rewards. However, you can actually go to Grim and provide your LP token to Grim. So the asset, you would just go ahead and put T-share. You can actually see there's the same pool, T-share FTM LP. Now here's the thing, is the current APY with T-share FTM. So if we look at T-share FTM, let's take a look at the APY that you get on Tomb Finance. It's 257% APR. Now, if we just take a look at the actual APY on Grim, it's 1,310% APY. That is such a massive boost. So at the end of the day, if you have a lot of conviction that the Fantom ecosystem is going to blow up, those are some of the gems and some of the passive income ideas and strategies that I would recommend looking into. Like I said, this isn't ever financial advice, but if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more and you want to learn more, I would recommend following me on Twitter. I definitely am going to be talking about the Fantom ecosystem a lot more and providing a lot of other gems that, quite frankly, I might not be fast enough to go ahead and make a video about, but I can tweet it really fast if there's something that catches my eye. And I'm not just going to tweet something just to tweet it because it looks good. I want to do my proper research into it beforehand. And so, yeah, again, long story short, this is it. Hidden Gem fam, I hope you enjoyed this. Smash a like on this video if you want more. Subscribe with notifications for videos almost every day. And with all that being said, I'll catch you guys soon. Have a fantastic day. Bye, everybody.